joined here on Real Agriculture at the Farm Progress Show by Minister of International Trade, Ed Fast. Thanks for taking some time. How's the show been so far for you?
Well, it's been great. I've had a chance to walk through the exhibits. There's some amazing machinery here that's being manufactured by Canadian companies. It's leading edge, world-leading technology, and that's who we are as Canadians. We come up with ideas, we solve problems, and there's nowhere that is more evident than within the agriculture and the agri-food sector. We are world leaders in this, and I'm so pleased to be here. I did have a chance to meet with some of our Canadian companies. There were about 25 companies at my round table, most of them representing the agricultural sector, but some also from the potash sector, the nuclear sector, talking about how we improve Canada's export performance. And that's my role as International Trade Minister, to open up new markets around the world for Canadian companies.
And that's really what this show is too. All this equipment basically gets used to produce products that generally go for export, where we need market access around the world.
Yes, I mean, Canada is a relatively small market. We only have 35 million people. Our market is the world, and the people that are here displaying their products, almost all of them, most of their sales are to foreign markets. So I'm very pleased to be here to support them, to also get an idea of the kinds of products that I'm promoting as I travel all around the world, opening new markets for them.
Right. Focusing in on one trade file in particular, country of origin labeling, the U.S. Of course, Canada has won its way through all the WTO decisions. The U.S. now filing for arbitration. What's your reaction to that?
Well, the U.S. has run out of options. For many years, they have known that what they were doing was discriminatory. They were breaking the rules of the World Trade Organization. We've made it very clear that they've now run out of options. They're now expected to comply with the World Trade Organization ruling. We've won on 4 different occasions throughout the appeal process. It's now time for the U.S. to do the right thing and repeal COOL. We've made that very clear. If the U.S. does not repeal COOL, we will retaliate, as is our right under the World Trade Organization rules.
What's the timeline for when that could start?
We expect this would take a number of months yet. I would expect early to mid-fall is when we would start to impose punitive tariffs on American products coming into Canada. But we don't have to walk down that road. The Americans have a choice to make. We either live by the rules that we've all agreed to live by, or we pay the consequences. And so we're hopeful that the United States will recognize that. We know that in the House of Representatives, there's also already legislation that has passed, which would repeal COOL. We're hoping they'll do the same thing in the Senate.
Are you optimistic the Senate will in favor?
It's difficult to read what happens within their political system. It's not for me to interfere in that process. All I can say is that we have remedies that we can fall back on. Retaliation is basically a hammer that we have a right to use. If the U.S. doesn't comply, we expect them to comply.
Right. And finally, then, the Trans-Pacific Partnership negotiations. Are you waiting on the U.S. there too with their TPA, the Trade
Promotion Authority
bill? Yeah.
Listen, I'm not going to interfere in the domestic U.S. political process. What we have said is that we welcome an outcome that will allow the United States, along with the other 11 partners, conclude a comprehensive 21st century ambitious trade agreement that will serve Canada very well for years to come. It's really about the 3 North American countries, Mexico, the United States, and Canada, as NAFTA partners, now forging new trade opportunities within the larger Asia-Pacific region. And Canada has been a very constructive party at the negotiating table, and we know that the negotiations are approaching an end game. We want to make sure the U.S. is able to actually conclude an agreement, and so we're optimistic that will happen.
Where does supply management fit into the picture?
We have always said that we will continue to promote and defend Canada's system of supply management. At the same time, we will not leave behind the 90% of Canada's agricultural producers that aren't covered under supply management. It's about finding the right balance, a balance that really truly reflects the Canadian national interest. We've never been able, we've always actually been able to conclude free trade agreements in the past, without eliminating our system of supply management. And we're confident that the outcome that we will realize in the TPP will reflect that balance, providing new opportunities for farmers across the country, yet at the same time understanding that we've also made commitments to supply management.
So could there be incremental access like we saw in the EU deal?
I don't want to prejudge what the outcome will be. Those negotiations are ongoing, but we've made it very clear we're looking for the right balance that serves the national interest.
All right. Well, thanks for your time, Minister Fast, and enjoy the rest of the show here.
Thanks so much.